In a shocking reversal yesterday, state lawmakers have decided not to take up drawing new voting maps for Georgia. That's during a special session.
ANF political reporter Doug Reardon explains the last-minute change.
House Republicans will not be taking up congressional or legislative redistricting maps for the 2028 election cycle during this special session.
Cheers erupted and echoed through the Georgia Capitol Wednesday as Republican leaders announced they would not, in fact, be undertaking gerrymandering during this week's special legislative session.
We believe it is prudent to take the appropriate and necessary time to do this important duty the right way and not to rush through it.
They also cited current legal challenges to the Supreme Court ruling that would allow lawmakers nationwide to break apart districts made up of mostly minority voters.
This is a great victory, and I want everybody to understand that. It was a huge victory.
Senate Minority Leader Harold Jones said Republicans were caving to political pressure, not wanting to energize black voters ahead of a crucial midterm election in November. Even prior to the surprise decision, crowds of activists, even Georgia's Senator Raphael Warnock, were putting the pressure on state leaders to call off the effort.
They saw that. And they understood that these folks right now, they want significant change. And to do something like this will actually put them further down the hole.
Voting rights activists agreed.
They energize us. They energize us to go out when they try to suppress it.
They made a great decision today. Hopefully that the decision that was made during this moment is a matter of the heart and not just the mind.
Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.